Do you think this week, knowing that the players have that bad taste in their mouth against the Rams, that could serve as maybe something that's just added motivation?
I think we have a bad taste in our mouth the last 3 weeks. We don't have time to worry about the bad taste of the Rams. We're trying to win a ball game, and that's all we're worried about.
How critical is this week to win?
They're all critical, They're all critical. We lost 3 in a row, like she said, and you got to get the next one in to feel better about yourself.
Bucs coach Todd Bowles talking to reporters yesterday. Rams are 3-4, Bucs are 3-5. The Rams are 3-0 against the Buccaneers during the Tom Brady era. Regular season win 2020, regular season win 2021, playoff win in 2021, up 27-3. Tom Brady ties it up, and then Todd Bowles calls for the cover zero, all-out blitz, and Matthew Stafford to Cooper Kupp, and next thing you know, the Rams win and the Bucs are done. Who's more desperate on Sunday? Who's done? Is either team done if they lose this game, and who needs it more, Chris?
Well, I don't know if either team's done, but we're getting close to that. The one reason I got to go, I guess if you're going to make me pick one who's more desperate, I'm going to go with the Rams because I think they have less avenues to get in the playoffs, right? Where the Bucs, if they drop to 3-6 and then Atlanta loses this weekend and they're 4-5, that's leading the division. Then I'd still go, well, I think the Bucs are going to probably, beat Atlanta and walk them down and still win the division that way. So that's where I look at it to go, I think it's more desperate for the Rams because as it sits right now, you got to be scared of the Rams. The Rams got to be scared of, what you talked about earlier in the show. The NFC East, the Giants hang around here. Seattle continues to play well. So you already got the Rams and the 49ers and the Seahawks in your division who are, we all know what the 49ers are capable of. And I think the Seahawks, again, are going nowhere. Like, they're going to be in this playoff conversation. So, Mike, I tend to go with the Rams in this one. What about you?
I agree with you because of the fact that there's only one, as a practical matter, playoff berth available for wild cards in the NFC because the Giants and Cowboys are going to claim 2 of them. It's getting harder to catch the Seahawks. You've got to deal with the 49ers who swept you, right? So, yeah, it's getting harder for the Rams to get a path to the postseason. They fall to 3-5. It becomes even more difficult. And for the Bucs, boy, it really hurt the Panthers last week, that ridiculous moment at the end of the game, end of regulation, where DJ Moore scores the touchdown, throws off his helmet, another teammate takes off his helmet, 15-yard penalty, miss the extra point, lose the game. If the Panthers had won that game, they're all 3-5 right now in the AFC South, given that the Saints beat the Raiders. And the Bucs would be in great shape. We're 0-0 with 9 games left. Let's go.
Yeah.
So they still need to catch the Falcons, and they're confident they will. But you're right, the Falcons could lose this weekend to the Bengals. So a loss by the Bucs really wouldn't hurt, other than extending this narrative. They've lost 5 out of 6 and 3 in a row.
Right.
They lose on Sunday. They've lost 6 out of 7 and 4 in a row. At what point do your players just kind of lose the wind in their sails and say, who cares? Do we really want to win the division at 7-10? Are we really going to have a chance in the playoffs if we slump into the postseason? And I think the difference there is Tom Brady, because he'll constantly tell them all we have to do is get in, and I'll take it from there.
Yeah, I hear you there. I do. And again, the Rams got issues like we talked about. The Bucs are going to be a little healthier, it seems like, this week. So maybe we get a little bit better picture of what they potentially could be here. But yeah, big game certainly is, and the Rams they definitely Rams are creatively coached. Their defense gives Brady and company issues. It's one of those defensive lines that's really given them issues, just because Bucs, their D line, big and overpowering. They've had an issue with the speed of the Rams defensive line in those matchups. So they've been able to do that thing we've always talked about, get there with 4, and then they do it there in creative ways. They blitz 1, they drop 1, they blitz 2, they drop 2, and that's made Brady very jumpy every time he's played them. This will be interesting here because neither team is, playing at a very high level right now, that's for sure.
And the Bucs have the Seahawks in Germany next Sunday.
Wow.
So they got a couple of tough games before their bye week, and then they have 7 games on the back end. We'll see how it continues to go. Bills and the Jets, 6-1 Buffalo, 5-3 Jets. Buy or sell? Zach Wilson will redeem himself from his 3-interception Week 8 performance.
I'm going to buy it. I am. Again, to me, the the critical nature of Zach Wilson's a little head-scratching. It really is. As I just explained, I know we talked about this last week. It's a guy goes 4-0, plays 4 of the craziest, better defenses in football, and people didn't want to give him credit. Now, last week, hey, listen, this interception, I can live with this interception. Mistakes are going to happen. This is the one you can't deal with. This is the one where you go, like, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, just throwing a casual sidearm flip out there. I still don't think McCourty was actually in bounds. But these interception 2 and 3 right here, that's like, you lost sense and became way too much of a gunslinger and got too relaxed out there. And you just can't do that. And he didn't do that the 4 games prior to that. Now, also, I'll say to this too, Mike, that they were winning the football game and doing some good things. He made some unbelievable throws. That's where I want to talk to Jets fans and go, listen, I know it wasn't perfect, but some of the plays and throws he made in that game were like high level, unbelievable. If I'm grading the game, I'm going, that's like a double plus on that throw. That's a double. There's 6 or 7 of those. So that's where I always tell the Jet fans, like, you never thought you were going to be 5-3. And your quarterback who got hurt for the first 6 weeks of the year, including training camp and all that, is 4-1 and done a good job. Support him a little bit. It's the weirdest thing here in the New York area, as I discussed with you last week.
But the redemption potentially comes against the Bills.
I know.
That's the problem. It's not like they're getting an easy game this week where he can come out and rebuild his confidence. He's got to go against the Bills. He's going to feel compelled to match Josh Allen point for point, touchdown for touchdown, drive after drive. And what I saw yesterday, and on Sunday, and he kind of said this after the game. Once he uses his physical skills to extend a play, he wants to make something happen.
I know.
He doesn't want to just throw it away.
Right.
Well, he's got to learn.
He's got to.
It's better to throw it away than
Right.
just do that weird, like, what the hell? Let's just wing it and see what happens. When you do that, more often than not, something bad happens, and bad things will happen against the Bills if he tries to do that again on Sunday.
No doubt. He's got to be smarter here. I think he will bounce back and make plays and play well. And I don't think that's necessarily going to lead to a win. I'm not saying that. But at least to the point to where we go, well, he wasn't the reason they lost. And again, games like that are going to happen with super talented guys like Zach Wilson. I talked to Josh Allen about this this year when I went up to visit him. I talked about him. When was the moment you realized you had to reel it in and like, whoa, I can't do some of the stuff I used to do? He talked about it was year 2 against New England. And he went, okay, I got to start, trusting my team and the offense and stop trying to make things happen. And, this is one where, yes, Zach made some of the most unbelievable escapes. He's incredibly athletic. But, yeah, sometimes you can escape and you still got to throw it away. You can't just think it's automatically you're going to make magic happen. And he fell into that trap last week.
Coach Robert Saleh has made it clear. GM Joe Douglas has made it clear. Zach Wilson is their guy. He's not going anywhere. And we could see maybe year 3 is when he takes off the way that Josh Allen did. Jets fans, embrace it. Don't push back against it. You may have a potentially special quarterback. Don't let one game ruin your opinion of the guy. All right, yeah. Seahawks and the Cardinals. Seahawks are 5-3. Cardinals are 3-5. Buy or sell. If the Cardinals get this win, there's still hope they can turn their season around. I think it's a big if they get the win, but they're favored by 2 points. So I'm having a flash forward to our picks podcast and the idea that the Cardinals are somehow 2-point favorites against the Seahawks. Are you kidding me?
I'm a little surprised by that too. I am. But, I will buy to say they still hope to turn their season around if they get this win. Again, I think we could talk about 3-6 in this division. That they're in big trouble, certainly. But, again, I think if they win this, go to 4-5, their defense, we've seen, has the ability to make plays. Their offense has definitely been better since DeAndre Hopkins is back. He's definitely changed their attack a little bit. So, yeah, there's hope. But, that's about as far as I'm going. I'm not going to go, oh, well, yeah, I'm sold. They won this week. Watch out. There's so many things to like about their team, and they've just been unlucky so far. No, not at all. It's like, yeah, there's hope, and then we got to continue to see, hope build upon as the weeks go on here to think that they legitimately can be a playoff football team.
Even though they lost to the Vikings on Sunday, there is a silver lining because Zadarius Smith told me after the game, because I asked him, how much did this mean to Patrick Peterson and Jordan Hicks, a couple of former Cardinals? And Zadarius said the night before the game, they explained to their teammates, if you just come out and get on top of the Cardinals early, they'll fall apart. Well, they didn't. The Vikings were up 14-3, and they didn't fall apart. So maybe the wiring is changing, and maybe this team isn't going to give up, and they're going to keep pushing, and they're going to keep fighting. Now, the Vikings also blow a lead against pretty much everyone, but maybe the Cardinals are finding something, and this would be a great way for them to inject themselves back into the conversation. They're getting closer and closer to falling out of contention.
They are.
At 3-5. You know, we felt good about them when they beat the Saints. Maybe they're back, and then, oh, wait a minute, maybe they're not, and they're kind of all over the place this year. But big difference between 4-5 and 3-6. We say that every week but there is. And especially in the division. Against the division leader, it's a 2-game swing. They're going to be 6-3 and you're going to be 3-6, or they're going to be 5-4 and you're going to be 4-5. It's a huge difference.
Yeah, well, of course. And then they still got the 49ers twice on the schedule. They still got the Rams. You know, they got New England Patriots, the Bucs. They're all on the schedule still. So they got a tough road ahead still. So, yeah, these are games where Seattle's good, no doubt about it. We're not sold they're dominant. You got to steal this game here to give yourself a fighting chance. We'll see. I mean, they only played 3 weeks ago, and they couldn't do jack diddly squat on the offensive side of the ball. If you remember, right, Mike, the only touchdown they scored was because the punter, that was in that little weird time of, the Seahawks punter seemed like he wanted to take over games against the Saints, and he had the punt blocked in the end zone, and Arizona picked it up for a touchdown. But other than that, they couldn't do anything. So that'll be interesting, too, to see where their offense goes and if they can move the ball with DeAndre Hopkins, who they didn't have the first time they played.
That's the key difference. He was phenomenal. Targeted 13 times, 12 catches, over 150 yards against the Vikings. He's the difference maker if they are going to find a way to win this game. Titans at the Chiefs. Both teams are 5-2. Sunday Night Football. But the Chiefs are 12.5-point favorites. I can't remember a time where you've had two teams with really good records, and one is that big. I'm sure it's happened. I just can't remember it, because my brain is starting to betray me. But the Titans are steep underdogs. Fill in the blank for me, Chris. The Titans can keep this game close if they what?
Well, we know what this is. I mean, we know, right? I mean, it's pretty, I think, apparent with this one. If they can run the ball and chew up clock, I think that's what they're going to look to do in this one. This is going to be old school for sure. The Titans' defense is getting better. There's no doubt about that. They're awesome against the run. But, of course, this ain't a running football team. They can run it more than they used to, so they got to respect it as far as Kansas City's offense. But, they got a tough challenge ahead. They haven't been great against the pass this year. We'll see, though. They are healthy on the back end there, and I think they can give them some problems. But, yeah, I think their offense is the key to the game. I mean, we know that them scoring points is a challenge, and Derrick Henry is certainly the driving force, and they got to keep him on the field and first downs and chew up clock. I got to think that they're going to win this football game or even keep it close, really.
Well, and that's the key. Keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. Get him frustrated when he's out there. It's a formula that comes up all the time. When you're talking about a great offense, the less it's on the field, the better the chance you have of keeping it from doing the things that make it great. And Derrick Henry, hey, how have we kind of gotten to the point where we're bored with, or we just take for granted and we don't factor in the greatness of Derrick Henry? Remember when they were getting ready to play in the postseason? It's like, well, how are they going to stop Derrick Henry? What are they going to do? What is the formula here? I mean, the Titans had him on the ropes that year. Derrick Henry was unstoppable, and he was unstoppable by the Texans. And maybe just people look at it and say, well, it's the Texans and they're not very good. But if Derrick Henry runs like he did on Sunday, yeah, it's going to be hard to cover the number if you're the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, it will be. No, you're right. That's the big thing. Now, the one thing I'll say, even in those matchups we talked about, last year Derrick Henry had his way against the defense, against Kansas City's defense. Remember, Kansas City was struggling, and I think that it was a loss that maybe brought them to 4-4 last year. It was the game where Patrick Mahomes, and you were just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's wrong with him. It says there's people open everywhere. He's not seeing them. He's leaving the pocket. But, you go back to the AFC Championship game, And the Chiefs did a pretty good job of stopping Derrick Henry. Traditionally, the Chiefs have been able to stop these type of teams and not let them run roughshod all over them, especially when it's a team where there's not a great passing attack where they have to worry about. That's where Spagnuolo, I think, is very creative, and he'll come up with ways to slow the run game down. And there's still a physicality element that we all don't give the Chiefs credit for because they're sexy and they throw the ball and do that. But there's very few games I can remember in the last 5 years where I go, ooh, that team out-hit the Chiefs. The Chiefs bring it. And it'll be fun to watch this game on Sunday night. This is a good one. I think it's going to have a lot of say of what happens here in the AFC.
It makes me proud in a weird sort of way that over time we've ironed out the Sims-isms, and you've learned, you've grown.
I've gotten
roughshod.
there.
There was a time when you not only accidentally said it, you doubled down and tripled down by insisting that the term is rough shop.
It still sounds better. I mean, I don't know what the hell a shot is, and it's one of those where it's rough shop. You're in the shop and you're getting rough and things are getting messy. That's sort of just made sense to me. Here's another one I had this week, and it kind of just fell into it. I was talking about Christian McCaffrey being the decoy, and then I was like, then you got to worry about him being the main coy. That was one I dropped on the podcast the other day.
Good.
I kind of like that.
That's good.
You like that? Decoy, main coy? I think that one works. It's one of my favorites so far.
Now, had you ever done that before?
No,
that was it.
I couldn't
out of the ground
quite
like
think
the
of it.
oil in Jed Clampett's
exactly
backyard.
right. It was just black tea, or Texas tea, black gold, whatever they say there. Yeah, but I was like, wait, decoy, and I couldn't think of what I wanted to say to make him the main guy, and I was like, oh, main coy, and just naturally happened there. It's my big brain working for me again.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.